Happy Friday, everyone, and thank you for being with us today. I'm Elise Seedy. We want to get you some breaking news that we are on top of for you this morning as we take a live look right now at the U.S. Supreme Court. So a ruling just came down in the last hour. Justices have blocked President Donald Trump's use of an emergency law to unilaterally impose sweeping tariffs on most U.S. trading partners, and that really delivers a blow to the president in a case centered on one of his signature economic policies, and one he characterized as life or death for the U.S. economy. So a 6-3 decision, the justices invalidated President Trump's tariffs. Supreme Court heard oral arguments in November in the case, which centered on the president's use of International Emergency Economic Powers Act to enact his Liberation Day tariffs on most countries, including a 10% global tariff and a set of higher so-called reciprocal tariffs on certain nations. So again, if you're just now joining us, the Supreme Court has ruled in a 6-3 decision to invalidate President Trump's tariff. So we'll keep our eyes on this, let you know any changes that could be made and what should come of that. So certainly a big story today. Well, turning our attention to this, straight off the heels of that news, President Trump visited Northwest Georgia yesterday. He spoke at a steel plant in Rome. So the president touched on a variety of issues, including affordability, the economy, also talked about tariffs as well, which is interesting with today's ruling. But our Kim Loeffler is joining us now with more on the president's visit to Georgia yesterday. Kim, good morning.
Good morning. Well, he talked to a crowd of supporters for over an hour yesterday, as you mentioned, at a steel plant in Rome. And of course, this is just as early voting is underway in Rome's congressional district. Now, Georgia's 14th congressional district was once held by Marjorie Taylor Greene, the seat there. Now, more than a dozen candidates are now vying for the position Greene left vacant after resigning in early January following a split with the president over the administration's handling of the Epstein scandal. And the president's visit also comes weeks after the FBI raided the Fulton County Election Center. President Trump has continued to claim widespread fraud in the 2020 election in Georgia, but recounts, audits, and court cases have shown no evidence of intentional wrongdoing or anything that would have changed the results in Fulton County. Now, during his speech, the president called for tighter voting requirements, and also, as you mentioned, he did speak about tariffs as well as the economy.
We've created more than 5,000 manufacturing jobs in Georgia alone. And we've had a very good relationship with Georgia.
On August 18th, I added new tariffs to cover 400 derivative products, including steel racks, which is what you make. So I say congratulations, and what a great comeback.
And did defend his use of tariffs, saying they're critical to the country's economic stability. During his speech, he also formally endorsed Clay Fuller, who's a district attorney in Northwest Georgia, for the 14th congressional seat there.
Okay, so a lot was said, it sounds like, right? The president had a lot going on. So it is a really crowded seat, or I'm sorry, a crowded bench for that seat, right? A lot of people have thrown their hats in the ring for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, this is the seat that was held by Marjorie Taylor Greene. So, you know, certainly with Trump's endorsement, it'll be interesting to see kind of how this race plays out.
Very much so. All right, our Kim Loeffler joining us with the latest on the president's visit yesterday. So, Kim, thank you so much for filling us in on that. All right, we appreciate that. All right, our time now is 11:03, and let's take a live look outside as our meteorologist Jonathan Stacy makes his way up here. He's a busy guy. He is in demand, so we're happy to have him for just a few moments to be able to talk with us. High demand, he says. But looking at this camera now, we see the King and Queen building there in Sandy Springs. What I'm taking away from this is some sunshine, some blue sky, so that part of this equation is looking good. Temperature-wise, things are feeling good today. But from what I've seen of the extended forecast, we might want to enjoy what's in store temperature-wise today because things are changing. So meteorologist Jonathan Stacy is joining us now with what is happening today.
It's changing. Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. We've made it to the end of the work week and to the kind of the end of our warm streak as well. Yeah. So right now we have popped back into the 70s, and I say back into the 70s, and I'm not talking about yesterday, but this morning we started out in the 70s. And the temperature fell as the rain fell across the area, but now that the rain is out of here, the temperature is bouncing back. And here's just was what our thinking was, that we would not be able to hit a record today or break a record. Looking at the spike in the numbers here, Now we're going to start talking about breaking a record again.
What?
Because we're already at 74 degrees, and so the record stands at 78, and it's not noon. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock. So over the next 5 hours, I think it is entirely possible that we could climb to 78 degrees, once again tying a record or possibly breaking a record. The matters of the morning are all behind us now. Here's a look at the radar picture, and you can see here a front cruise through the area, and as the front walked its way through, we had some showers that we had to deal with by morning. For some of you, it gave you a wet commute to start, but we told you it wouldn't last long, and that's exactly what you experienced. They were in and they were out. They did not come to last, they came to pass. So tomorrow we're going to do it all over again. So here's how the weekend works out. We'll likely throw in some more clouds as we get into the second half of the day, but for many of us, we're going to enjoy sunshine. So I'll go ahead and run it here. Okay, so a few clouds out there, passing shower or two overnight. We'll wake up tomorrow morning to mostly cloudy skies once more, and then a little bit of a dousing at the 8 o'clock hour. Okay, it's now 12 noon, and it looks like we have some stronger activity along and near the I-85 corridor to the north and to the east of the city. Going out 20, you also have a few straggling showers. That line tries to bulk up as it moves to the south and to the east, but it's out of our neck of the woods, so who cares at that point unless you are traveling or you have interest down across central and eastern Georgia. It's now 4 o'clock on your Saturday, and as I've been telling you, I think you're going to be able to enjoy the mean part of your Saturday, meaning the afternoon and the evening should be relatively problem-free. A passing sail or two can't be ruled out even through the overnight hours, but generally we are on our way to drier conditions, and that really will be our lot for Sunday. However, Sunday's winds will be quite ferocious as they bring in some air out of the north and the west, which will be some bone-chilling air, and you will feel that first thing when you wake up on a Monday morning with temperatures in the 20s. So let's not get all caught up and hung up on what is to come when we can enjoy what is the now. And the now is not another chance for rain today, and temperatures that are already knocking on 75 degrees. Dare I say we come close to 80.
Jeez. I mean, I think that's going to be nice. Let's do this.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just living in the moment.
Living in the moment. So is this part of that what is it, we call it fake spring, false spring that we get so used to here? Because that's kind of, I feel like we all are getting a little bit bamboozled. You know what I mean? Like we got used to that, and then look at, bam, Monday.
I think everybody had bated breath. We were like, this is too good to be true. Over the past few years, once we've shaken off the chill, it seems like we've kind of put it to rest once and for all. This is just coming way too early for the second full week of February to have, a string of 60s and 70s for highs from literally the start of the week to the end of the week. That's rare. Here's the deal. I think we're going to trend in a warmer direction, but there are just going to be some dips. Around here, though, you can have dips all the way through May. I don't want the back and forth all the way through May. Let's go ahead and kind of get on a track here. Let's take a slow roll into May, instead of this kind of dribbling up and down.
We're with you on that. I will say this.
Find a
one thing
pace.
I'm looking forward to with the temperature dropping is, I told you before, that my kids have been playing outside a lot. They're telling me about mosquitoes already. And I'm like, it's because it's been so warm. So I'm hoping that maybe the cold weather kind of freezes some of those out. That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be a nice payoff. Yeah.
Come on. It's the middle of February.
When spring starts in Georgia, everything starts.
Oh, it all starts.
Everything. Pollen, insects are back. Springtime storms. It's like you get the whole kit and caboodle.
All of it. All of it. All right, Jonathan, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Our time is 11:09 at this point. Let's get to some of the other big stories that we're following for you today, including this one. The GBI is investigating after Gwinnett police fired at a man who they say charged at them with a knife. Gwinnett County police gave some details about the incident and what happened. So let's listen in on that together.
So at approximately 3:44 p.m., 911 dispatchers received a call of a stabbing from a domestic violence situation on the 600 block of Oak Tree Park Court. The caller stated that someone had tried to stab him and that he was bleeding from the hand. When officers arrived, they parked a few houses down from the incident location and approached the house. As they got up to the house into the driveway and front yard, a male suspect came out of the house with a knife in his hand above his head in an offensive manner and approached towards the officers. The officers gave the individual numerous commands to de-escalate the situation and to put the knife down. At that point, the officers were forced to fire upon the suspect, striking him in the front yard of the driveway. The officers then rendered aid to the individual. Gwinnett County Fire and EMS was already responding to the scene because of the call came in as a possible stabbing. EMS arrived and transported the individual to a local hospital.
What's the condition of the individual?
The person was transported to the local hospital where he has since been pronounced deceased.
The other individual that was involved in this case?
I don't know if there was any injuries to that individual before. That person will eventually be interviewed by the GBI.
Talk to us a little bit about the officers. How many officers were involved? How many fired?
2 officers were initially responding to the scene with 2 others as backup because of the nature of the call. The 2 officers responded at the same time, got out and approached the house, and I believe it was 2 officers that fired, but it will be up to the GBI to determine that.
Can you talk about what's next for this investigation?
GBI is currently here on scene investigating. They will question all parties involved and, go with their investigation from there.
In the manner that you guys responded to this call, I know you guys had 2 officers who were shot earlier this month responding to a fraud call. Is this the way that you guys would normally respond to a domestic violence call, or was that stepped up a little bit with extra officers?
Nothing was changed from how they would normally respond to this type of call. 2 officers were there. They probably were, near each other because they were arrived on scene at the same time. 2 other officers responded to the scene with them, thinking it was already going to be a violent situation because the caller to 911 had stated that they were stabbed. Again, I don't know if anybody was stabbed or if there was any other injuries. That'll be up to the GBI to determine.
Have police ever been called to this home before?
I don't have that information off the top of my head. If you want to email or check with us tomorrow, I could run a history at the address, but I don't have anything currently.
These domestic situations seem to be kind of common. Any advice for anyone that might find themselves in one?
The officers arrived. The individual came out immediately with a knife above his head and charged at the officers in an offensive manner. They attempted to de-escalate the situation by giving them commands to drop the knife. At that point, they ended up having to fire upon the individual. Just try to remain calm and, don't come at the officers with a knife or a weapon.
Can you speak to what the police department has been through? I know that the chief was out here as well as you guys conduct your investigation, but obviously going through this at the beginning of the month, then you hear officers are involved in a shooting now. How has that been for you guys?
This is the typical response to any officer-involved shooting that we have. Our chief and the command staff come out to any of them. Our CISM team responds to any officer-involved shooting. Our internal affairs responds to conduct an administrative investigation to the departmental policies, ensure they were followed. It's the exact same situation as any officer-involved shooting that happens over the last many years.
The officers involved in this shooting, can you talk a little bit about how long they've been a part of the police department?
I don't have any of that information off the top of my head right now.
Was there one person inside the home and then one person came out, or what was the...
I know of the suspect came out of the house, and he was the one that came out at the officers. How many other parties were involved? I don't have that information at this time.
The victim was a male, correct?
The suspect that came at the officers with the weapon, I believe, was an adult male.
But the person who claimed to have been stabbed was a male as well, or was that a female?
That I don't know. The call just stated that he was bleeding from the hand. I am not aware if that was stating the suspect was bleeding or if that was the individual who was calling 911.
I know it's an isolated incident, but any type of comforting words for people around here that might be a little on edge right now, seeing all the police in the neighborhood?
Yeah, this is an isolated incident. There was some kind of domestic situation, argument that took place in the home that prompted the call to 911, which resulted in the officers responding to the scene. I'm not clear on the details of that domestic situation. That'll be the GBI who interviews witnesses and determines what took place prior to the officers arriving.
All right, so 2 Gwinnett County police officers are now on administrative leave while the GBI is looking into that shooting. So that's really just standard protocol with this. Authorities have not yet identified any of the individuals involved in that incident. So we'll be sure to keep you posted on what is happening with that. Meanwhile, want to get to the very latest right now in the trial. This is the trial for Colin Gray. He is the father of the accused Appalachia High School shooter, Colt Gray, and that trial is underway right now for its 5th day. So to recap what happened yesterday on day 4, testimony focused on body cam footage that showed law enforcement interacting with both Colin and Colt Gray. That footage showed a deputy responding to the Gray home immediately after that mass shooting at Appalachia High School. It showed officers showing up there receiving a tip before the shooting where Colt threatened to shoot up the school. So testimony is underway this morning with more witnesses anticipated. The state is working to establish what Gray knew and when he knew it. So that's a big part of all of this. Crime scene specialist for the GBI, Heather Lashley, talked about his response to the Gray residence on the day of the shooting. She went through and just photographed the home and what investigators saw when they showed up there. That included guns, boxes of ammunition as well in Colin's bedroom. So let's listen in on that together.
Overall of a pair of swim goggles that I located in that bedroom, and inside the goggles you can see what was identified as one bore sight and one rifle cartridge.
Okay, and is that, fortunately we had that orienting picture. Is this zoomed in from where the previous picture was?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And we'll go to the next picture.
This is that same pair of goggles. It's just now been identified with evidence marker 22.
Okay, you said that was a bore sight and a cartridge in there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Just a close-up of the contents of the goggles.
All right, and that's .67. And is that object on the left the bore sight?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. .68.
This is an overall of the closet that was in Colin's room.
Okay. And .69.
Another overall focusing more on the top of the closet.
Okay. And .70.
One of my overalls photographing the top shelf that was in the closet.
All right, and it's kind of hard to see in this picture, and we'll see clearer, but what are those boxes that we're seeing?
Various ammunition boxes.
Okay. We'll go to the next picture. That's .71.
That's another overall. That's the opposite side of that same shelf in the top of the closet.
Okay. And the next slide.
These were overalls of some firearms that were located in that closet after I removed the clothing that was covering them.
Okay. Were there 2 firearms up there?
Yes, there were.
Okay. And we'll go to the next picture. That was .72. This is .73.
This is a overall photograph of a box of handgun ammunition that was in the top of the closet.
All right. And we'll go to the next slide. .74.
This is another overall of one of the firearms that's been marked with evidence marker 17.
Okay. And .75.
This was a pile of magazines that were located in the top of the closet that have been marked with evidence marker 19.
All right. And .76.
This is an overall of the closet, still with all the clothing on top of the contents of the closet.
Okay, so is this kind of on the left side of the closet?
Yes, ma'am. If you're facing the closet, it would be more to the left.
Okay. .76, and we'll go to the next one, .77.
This is the same boxes of ammunition that have been marked with evidence marker 16, and this photo of the clothing has been moved from on top of them.
Okay, and next, .78.
This is a close-up photo of all the boxes of ammunition that I retrieved from the top of the closet.
Okay, and I'll go ahead and ask, was that closet locked or secured in any way that y'all weren't able to get into it?
No, ma'am. The closet door was open when I got there.
Okay. So that's .78. We'll go to .79. What do we see here?
A close-up photo of the .40 caliber Smith & Wesson ammunition box.
Okay. And .80.
This was the contents inside that box.
Okay. And .81.
An overall of another ammunition box and the contents that were inside that box.
Okay. And .82.
An overall of a different ammunition box.
Okay, and we'll go to the next one, .83.
These were the contents inside that box.
Okay, and are all these that we're looking at recovered from that top closet shelf next to those firearms?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We'll go to the next one, .84.
An overall of a 12-gauge shotgun ammunition box.
Okay. We'll go to .85.
The contents recovered from that box.
All right, and is that your writing next to it identifying what it is?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and can you just read that for us if you could see it? I know it's not super clear.
Apologies if I pronounced the name wrong, but 16 cellular and billet 12 gauge shotgun shells.
Okay. And this is .86.
This is an overall of a different ammunition box and the contents of that box.
And that's .87. And how many is that?
19 12 gauge shotgun shells.
Okay. And we'll go to .88.
An overall of a different ammunition box.
And .89.
The contents that were in that box.
Okay. Go to .90. So we're back in the room. Can you tell us kind of where we are in the room at this point?
Yes, ma'am. So you can partially see it in that photo. The doorway to go in and out of the room is in the left corner of that photo. This would be the east wall in that room, and it's just a cubby-style dresser against the wall.
Okay. And that was .90. So let's go to .91. And what are we looking at here?
This is a mid-range photo of the middle cubby on the top row of that dresser.
Okay, that's .91.
And this is a Glock box or case that was recovered from that cubby.
Okay, that's .92. We'll go to .93.
This is an overall of the contents that were inside that case.
All right. And can you tell us just generally, at least what we can see about what these contents are?
So you can see there are 2 handgun magazines. There is a black and color, what's called a speed loader to help you load your magazines. And there's also a gun lock in a Ziploc bag.
Okay. And was the Ziploc bag, did that appear to be the original packaging for the gun lock from what you could tell?
From what I could tell, yes.
Okay. And that's .93. So we'll go to the next one now. And before we go to the next one, I'll introduce a couple physical things. I do want to ask you, those firearms at the top of the closet, what were those 2 firearms?
One of them was a shotgun and the other was a rifle.
Okay. Was it like an AR style rifle?
Yes, ma'am. I believe it was an AM-15 was the official brand of it.
Okay. And I'm going to show you what's been marked as State Exhibit 148. Can you just identify what that is?
Yes, ma'am. This is the Glock case that was recovered from that cubby in Colin's room.
All right. And does it appear to be in the same condition as when y'all took it into evidence?
And we have been hearing there from Heather Lashley, GBI crime scene specialist. This is day 5 of the trial of Colin Gray. We'll keep you updated on what happens in court. But still ahead for you on the stream, we are hearing from NASCAR driver Austin Dillon about the Daytona 500 and also about this weekend's race at Echo Park Speedway here in Georgia. So stick around for that. Welcome back, everyone. 11:24. Okay, so let's take a look at this point at Echo Park Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. So the Daytona 500 is in the books. The NASCAR Cup Series season officially underway. Next up on the schedule is a trip to Atlanta, where the best of the best will face off at Echo Park Speedway. So last season, Christopher Bell won the spring race in Georgia, while Dawsonville's own Chase Elliott was victorious in the summer. Atlanta's become one of the more unpredictable tracks on the schedule, though, so we can throw away any kind of history when you're talking about heading into this venue. Our Justin Felder spoke with NASCAR driver Austin Dillon about the Daytona 500 and also this weekend's race at Echo Park Speedway in Henry County. So let's listen to that together.
So coming off Daytona, I know it wasn't the finish you guys wanted. As a competitor, how do you, I guess, process that, move on from that? What's your feelings now that we're a few days removed?
Well, I'm really proud of the speed and the effort that we took down there as a company from RCR. The Bass Pro Shop Chevy was really strong most of the weekend, and if we could have just got through the one wreck, I think we would have had a car with the speed capable of possibly winning the race. A lot has to go right, but just from a speed perspective, way better this time around than years past, and I'm really excited about the new Camaro because of that.
Can you take, I know it's always different cars and different setups, but when you are, having that fast a car, when you're right up there in practice and in speed, can you take some of that momentum, some of that, good setup knowledge towards a track like Atlanta?
Atlanta has definitely become a speedway race. I feel like handling is more important there probably than even Daytona, just because of the tight quarters racing, really high banked, and it's like a hybrid, but it's more speedway than anything. So yeah, we'll take some of the knowledge that we've learned over the last couple of years and then try and apply it to the new Camaro.
Hybrid kind of setup, is that why we've seen so many close races there over the last couple of years in Echo Park Speedway?
I don't know. I mean, I think they just built a track that has done a good job of proving itself. And, when you have that much banking, there are options. You can go all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom. You see guys sliding each other. The aerodynamics of that track sets up for these big runs. And you see some wild finishes and some big wrecks and all the stuff that fans like to see.
Come a TV spectacle, and for fans in the stands here in Georgia, how fun is it for drivers?
It's probably one of the most intense races of the year. You have to be ready for any kind of move. Things just happen so fast there. Your mind's working at a really fast clip, and you got to make fast decisions to be able to advance forward. And high speed chess set at like 30-second games, maybe, is what it feels like.
This is year 5 since the repave and reconfiguration. Are you guys still learning the track, or are you, a couple races in, we've kind of got a real good handle on it, or is it always evolving since it's still relatively new?
It's evolving. The asphalt wears, the grip level changes. So we're always learning and trying to evolve for the following race, to try and look at temperature, how much did the track degrade. But yeah, you're always looking to evolve.
You can look at the stats, the numbers, the finishes. How do you feel like you've done in Atlanta at Echo Park Speedway in the past, and what do you feel like are the keys for you and your team heading into this weekend?
Well, as far as I've been terrible at the new Atlanta, as far as finishes go. The last race there was probably the best race we have had. We ran inside the top 10 to 12, right in that range. And Christopher Bell lost it, and we got caught up in a wreck. So I'm really happy if we can take something similar to that, advance a couple positions with our new Camaro being fast, and we'll have a shot. But Kyle Busch has been good, so that's been nice. I think that we can definitely make some noise there this weekend with our new Camaro and what we learned the last race there.
Last thing for you, man, it's relatively close to home. I know y'all have a number of tracks in your part of the country, but what is racing in Atlanta like for you? Does it mean more friends, more family, things like that?
Well, I mean, we definitely have some people come out. My wife's family's from Chattanooga, so they're going to come up, and we usually take the whole crew with us. So I'm excited to get there. It's just a cool track to be at, and yeah, it's close to home. That's nice. It
will certainly be a big weekend at Echo Park Speedway here in Georgia. Well, still ahead for you this morning. Today is the 20th day that teams are still searching for Nancy Guthrie, so we'll have the latest from Tucson ahead. Stick around. Well, today marks the 20th day that teams are searching for Nancy Guthrie, but as fears and frustrations rise, many remain hopeful that some kind of progress will be made using genetic genealogy testing to try to track down a suspect here. So Fox's Rebecca Castor is joining us live in Tucson, Arizona once again with the latest on what we know. So Rebecca, good morning and thank you for being with us today. You've been in the neighborhood now for a couple of days. What are people now saying that, you know, we're 20 days into this investigation?
Well, Elise, even though it's been a good amount of time now, the people who live here, they are not giving hope that Nancy Guthrie will still be found and return to her home behind me safely. We were out talking to folks over the last few days, and a lot of them have really put their lives on hold during this whole investigation. There's an unsettling feeling in the neighborhood just because of, just the unanswered questions that all of us are still asking. We do know that investigators are also still coming to the neighborhood, following up on leads. They're still speaking with neighbors. We saw them searching someone's backyard yesterday. So this is still, active. And while we might not be hearing about updates publicly, things are happening behind the scenes. And the news cycle may move on, but I can tell you the people in this neighborhood, they're not moving on anytime soon.
Yeah, certainly so. I mean, it's one of those that I feel like it still has us glued to our TVs, just hoping and praying there's some kind of new update in the case. But speaking of that, I mean, is there anything that could lead to that big break that investigators are really needing to happen in order to move forward?
Yeah, it's really that DNA evidence that was found inside Nancy's home. That would be the key if they could, use that genetic genealogy testing to identify who that suspect is. We know that is a process that can take a while, but it also is a process that's been successful in many other high-profile cases. We've been talking with you about the Brian Kohberger case. They were able to use evidence from the crime scene, create a large family tree, and eventually narrow it down to Brian Kohberger as the suspect there. And that is exactly what investigators are hoping will be the breakthrough for this case.
Rebecca, President Trump has been weighing in on this investigation as well. So what are you hearing about that? What do we know about what the president has said?
Yeah, he had an interesting take. He didn't think it was smart for authorities here to publicly share some of their specific strategies. One of those being that they are using Bluetooth technology to try to locate Nancy's pacemaker. He pointed out, hey, you know, the kidnappers could hear that, and then he doesn't even want to think about what they might do to make that not possible. So while investigators are keeping a lot of details really close to the chest, they're not sharing a lot of details publicly, but he thinks that they need to be even more careful than they're being right now.
Very interesting. Rebecca Castor live for us in the ground there in Tucson, just updating us on this investigation now into its 20th day. So, Rebecca, thank you so much for the latest on that. We appreciate it. Well, turning our attention now to some really interesting comments that you might have heard about from President Obama. Are they out there? Are they not? What is the word on aliens? So President Trump says that he is ordering government agencies to come clean about UFOs and also the possibility of alien encounters. And it follows what I'm mentioning, those comments that were made by former President Barack Obama. So Fox's Doug Luzader has the latest from Washington.
President Obama has since clarified his position on this, but he kicked up a lot of speculation about what the government really knows about extraterrestrial life. Air Force One is clearly an identified flying object, but it was while on board that the president seemed a little miffed.
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that.
That was directed at former President Obama, who had said this.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them.
Was he actually confirming the existence of aliens?
My God.
So aliens are real?
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. Well, he made a big mistake.
Obama would take to Instagram to clarify, writing, "The distances between solar systems are so great that the chances we've been visited by aliens is low. And I saw no evidence during my presidency that extraterrestrials have made contact with us. Really." And last night from President Trump, a new promise. "I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life."
He played a little coy with us.
Trump's daughter-in-law, meantime, suggests something may be going on here.
I think my father-in-law has actually said it, that there is some speech that he has that I guess at the right time, and I don't know when the right time is, he's going to break out and talk about, and it has to do with maybe some sort of extraterrestrial life, so to speak.
The White House press secretary was asked about that, saying she is unaware of any such speech. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
All right, our time is 11:37 now, and turning our attention right now to a search that's underway at the longtime home of Britain's former prince, Prince Andrew, a day after his arrest. So investigators are seen on the grounds of Royal Lodge at Windsor Castle today. It's where Andrew lived for decades before being evicted by his brother, King Charles, last October. So Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, as he's now known, was arrested Thursday on suspicion of misconduct in public office, and it's all linked to his friendship with late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. So the arrest actually happened on his 66th birthday, and it comes after emails to Jeffrey Epstein allegedly showed him sharing confidential government documents. That includes details of official trips he took while serving as Britain's trade envoy. So obviously a big problem with that. Former prince is the first senior British royal to be arrested in nearly 400 years. So pretty incredible there. All right, meanwhile, leaders in Nashville, Tennessee are debating an Elon Musk project. It's intended to help get commuters around underground. So Nashville City Council and representatives of the Boring Company, that's a company that drills tunnels for future city travel loops using Tesla cars, they debated the feasibility of a proposed underground tunnel travel project yesterday. And this idea is facing some opposition by local residents and local leaders there who say there's not enough transparency about the project. They don't think that enough has been released about all of this. But last July, the Boring Company announced plans for a Music City Loop, which they say is a 13-mile stretch that would end up linking Nashville's airport and downtown. So some city council members are opposed to this because of the link with Elon Musk. They don't like that. Others want to know more about the Americans with Disabilities Act compliance that the loop would have. And some are worried about potential fires that could happen in a tunnel from Tesla lithium-ion batteries. Boring leaders say the risks tariffs for that are extremely low, so it's not something that they are concerned about. Proponents say it's not going to cost the taxpayers anything, and that privately financed, this is privately financed to address congestion problems. So should be interesting to see what they decide to do there in Nashville, whether or not to make this a reality. Well, it's 11:39, and it's hard to believe, but the deadline to file your taxes is now about 2 months out. But right now is actually the time to start preparing for that. So we're helping you out with that next. Well, it is that time of the year again. We're 2 months out from the deadline to file your taxes, which means that now is the time to start getting everything together. There's also some changes that we need to know about as well. So here to talk about it more is Robin Caruso, a partner with the tax department of Prager Metis. She's been practicing accounting for over 30 years, so she knows her stuff. And Robin, it's good to have you with us. Good morning.
It's great to be here. Good morning, Elise.
Hey, it always feels early, but it's not when you talk about, what needs to be done in order to prepare for tax day. So let's start with, what is the first step that we could be taking to help us on down the road, Robin?
One of the first steps we could do all along is to maintain excellent records all year. Start gathering all of your tax documents, every source of income, including investments like dividends, interest, along with substantiation for any expenses that you intend to deduct on your tax return. So start gathering your W-2s, your 1099s, things like that. It's also important to complete a very accurate and complete tax return to avoid penalties. Penalties can get really ugly. So reviewing the prior tax year can help identify things that we had in our prior year return, capture capital, loss carryovers, an overpayment that you may have applied to the following year, so from 24 to 26. You're going to want to set up an online account. It's a great way to go and pull down your account transcript so you could verify your estimated tax payments, and you could even get your W-2s and all your tax documents on there once they get reported. And then you can pull a wage and income transcript that will help you ensure that all of your income has been reported, that the IRS knows about. Everything that got reported to them, you can see that in your online account, and make sure you include it on your return.
Okay, well, you've given us a checklist of things that we need to start preparing, so we appreciate that. Looks like we need to get to work doing that. Also, what are some of the biggest changes from the big, beautiful bill that taxpayers need to know about, be aware of?
There are many changes. I recommend consulting with an experienced tax advisor this year to understand all the new laws, special elections, deductions. We've got tips deductions, overtime deductions, the new senior deduction. It's that $6,000 credit for senior citizens 65 and over, and it's available to both spouses as long as they're under the threshold, the $150,000 filing threshold for that. It's not a filing threshold, it's a threshold for the deduction. And all of these deductions have thresholds. And the interesting thing about these handful of deductions is they're available to people whether you take the standard deduction or you take the itemized deduction. So you can get them either way. So you want to make sure you're familiar with those. For businesses, there are all sorts of new deductions for how depreciation and research and experimentation are handled, all kinds of things. And another great one is the SALT deduction. That's the state and local income tax. That's been increased from $10,000 all the way up to $40,000 for people who are under $500,000. So that's most taxpayers that are going to do an itemized return. Most of them are under that cap, and then it'll start to phase out. So there are a lot of new things available. And another thing I think people need to do is really carefully consider other requirements you may have. If you've given a gift over $19,000 to one recipient, you have to file a gift tax return. For instance, if you have a foreign bank account, you'll have to file an FBAR return. That's the foreign bank account reporting. If you have anything complex, if you have rental property, businesses, you're receiving Schedules K1, then you really want to talk to a professional. You certainly don't want to leave money on the table. Of
course not.
And miss out on any of the great tax breaks this season.
Yeah, you're right about that. So we mentioned you've been doing this for 30 years. What are some of the common mistakes that you see folks make year after year, Robin?
Oh, I love that question. You know, about 20% of eligible taxpayers never file a return to even claim the earned income credit. It's a fully refundable credit. That means that the entire amount can be refunded to them, even if it exceeds their tax liability. And it's worth as much as over $8,000 for eligible families with 3 or more children. It's also a great time. This is a great opportunity to go back and look at your 22, 23, 24 tax return to uncover any potential mistakes you may have made. Maybe you missed a deduction or a tax credit. These years are still eligible under the statute of limitations to file an amended Form 1040X and claim that refund. Get that money back in your pocket.
All right. Providing a lot of help to help us get organized and get prepared for this year's tax season. Robin Caruso with Prager Metis. Robin, thank you so much for the help and your insight and expertise in this. We certainly appreciate that today.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was great being here. And if I may, I'd like to say one last thing.
Of course.
To your taxpayers. You live down in Georgia, and Georgia is what we call a static conformity state. And what that means is that they take a specific date and then they follow the federal code as of that date. And my understanding is that hasn't been set yet. And sometimes they don't follow everything. So if you're getting that tips deduction for up to $25,000, you're not going to get that on your Georgia tax return. So it's really important to understand those distinctions.
Good to know. Appreciate you giving us that nugget as well here in Georgia. All right, Robin, good to see you. Thank you. Take care.
Great speaking with you, Elise. Thank you.
It's 11:47 now. Let's switch gears now. Hundreds of Black-owned businesses have set up shop at Georgia World Congress Center for what's being called the Super Bowl of Black businesses. Our Chris Rosenthal has made his way there. He's going to show us around and tell us what's expected. Good to see you, Chris. Happy Friday.
Hey, happy Friday, Elise. Yeah, I'm here at the Georgia World Congress Center. This event, the Atlanta Black Expo, started in 2023, and it is going to be going on all throughout the weekend. They're setting up this giant exhibition hall here, getting ready to welcome some of those businesses, those hundreds of businesses. They're expected to come, and upstairs they had already have some panel sessions going on, and with various networking opportunities and chances for people, business owners, small business owners, to talk with other professionals, really about where to get, where to get your start, where to get financing, things like that. But I am joined by Corey Moore. He is the founder of the Atlanta Black Expo. And tell me, what is this event about?
So it's really the celebration of Black businesses. To call it is, it's the Black
business Super Bowl. So when you think about the actual NFL Super Bowl, it's a celebration of the NFL. Well, this is a celebration of black businesses. If we had took all the black businesses, all the people who supported them, you brought them all together and celebrated them, it would be a black expo. And this is the Atlanta Black Expo. So our goal is to really showcase as many exhibitors and many business owners as possible, just so that people know, hey, I know where to actually find them. They're all in one place. I can find a business that fits into my life, spend some money with them, do business with them, start growing a relationship.
Here in Atlanta, such a rich history of African-American businesses. I mean, just, even going down Auburn Avenue and areas like that. I mean, talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, actually, the very first place where there was a black expo in the nation was 130 years ago, which was here in Atlanta. So it's actually kind of, symbiotic for us to actually revitalize this whole campaign to be able to help these businesses, bringing it back to Atlanta and actually continue what they started, again, 130 years ago.
And this is a chance, too, for people who have businesses. Maybe they're starting off or, what can they expect when they come here? What resources are there?
Yeah. So we are one of Atlanta's only multi-industry expo. So Atlanta has a Black Hair Expo, has a Black Beauty Expo, Black Women's Expo, which is phenomenal. But we are the only expo to where it's multi-industry. So whether you are a plumber, whether you do lawn care, whether you do hair, whether you're an accountant, whether you are a web designer, whatever the case is, you can actually come exhibit here, and you as a consumer can actually come to here and find anything. Our goal is that whatever your interest is, you can actually come to the Atlanta Black Expo and see somebody who actually is doing that thing.
Good for businesses and good for consumers, huh?
100%.
Absolutely. I mean, just upstairs there were some panels I was listening to earlier, and they were learning about finance, for example. Yeah. So, and you're also going to have this afternoon or starting at 5. Tell me about that.
So, what's going on right now is our workshops. So we have over real estate, financial, small business, health, and various other things. And then tonight is what we call Black Foodie Friday, which we're super excited about that. So we've taken some of the top caterers and bakers here in Atlanta, and they're going to be doing a tasting of their creations. We're going to be having a good time tonight, and then there's a taste competition with that. So we're going to see who actually has the best whatever here.
Wonderful. Well, it's all underway here and getting set up and all underway upstairs. And this will be going on throughout the weekend as well. So on Saturday and Sunday as well. So.
Very nice. Some good stuff. There's going to be a lot of folks there who get to enjoy everything that it has to offer. So, Chris, thank you so much for giving us an early look around. We appreciate it. It's going to be much different when it's up and rolling. All right, 11:51 now, and also kicking off today is the Black Artist Showcase. This is happening at Greenbrier Mall. So our Eli Jordan is out there right now with what we can expect from this. Hey, Eli.
Hey, Elise, good morning. Yes, I'm out here at Greenbrier Mall where they're putting some final touches. Vendors are putting final touches on their art being set up out here in the Commons area and all that. But I'm also here at Densois Incredible Arts Market. She has a gallery, Densois has, and she's an organizer of this exhibit in celebration of Black History Month. And I am joined by Densois Williams. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Not too bad. So tell me, what all is going to be going on this weekend? What can people expect?
Well, they can expect to come and see a wonderful array of cultural art, both visual art. We have Shona stones, we have carvings, we have designers, garment designers, doll designers.
And this is your gallery here at the mall, right?
This is my gallery, yes.
Why was it important to have local artists and stuff come out here and set up shop for the next couple of weekends?
Well, we're celebrating Black History Month. It should be every day, but we've been designated these 28 days, and it's just a wonderful lifting of the spirit to be in surroundings such as these.
So the artist market is going to be going on out here for the next 2 weekends, correct?
Yes, correct.
Through Friday through Sundays for this weekend and next weekend.
Exactly.
And they'll be set up, and it's free to the public and all that. And it's the last 2 weekends, but you're going to have some renowned artists here, correct?
Yes, on the last day of the event, Leroy Campbell is going to be here with us. He's wonderful. He's going to have a book signing, and I can give you more details if you call me. 678-698-7134. But you don't want to miss that.
Gotcha. So if people are interested and they want to come out, check out the vendors that are, putting the final touches, getting set up out here, and also come see your art gallery. They just need to call you at 678-698-7134.
Correct.
And also, too, what do you hope viewers will come, visitors will come away with when they come out here and check it out?
That they will see visually wonderful, wonderful art on any number of levels, and that they will be inspired, and not only to feel good, but also to support these artists. This is how we make a living. This is our culture, and it's outstanding, and they should come to appreciate and enjoy.
Awesome. Well, Denswell Williams, thank you so much for speaking with us. And Elise, that's what's going on out here for the next 2 weekends, Friday through Sunday. Come out here to Greenbrier Mall. You can see some art, cultural, fashion things, all in celebration of Black History Month, and it should be fun. Leroy, what's his last name again? Leroy Campbell is what it is. Yes. Leroy Campbell, the artist, and also Arthur. He'll be out here with a book signing.
Very
and so
nice.
Come on out here, enjoy it. It's free, and you can patronize Greenbrier Mall.
Very, very nice. And I got to tell you, looking around while you were talking, she's got some great stuff. So certainly worth going and checking out what she's got there. And yeah, very, very nice. All right, Eli, thank you so much for that. Okay, do we have time to do the picks? Yes, guys, gather around. You have to hear this story. A hungry pig wonders. Actually, no, we're going to start with this one. What are we doing? Pigs or pajamas? Okay, let's do the pajamas. This is important. Several styles of children's sleepwear being pulled from shelves for a potential burn hazard. This is Lullaby Lane and MCS children's sleepwear being recalled. Company says 10 styles in various colors of the pajamas violate the mandatory flammability standard for children's sleepwear, which can, of course, pose a risk for serious injuries. So important to know that. Company urging customers stop using the product immediately and return the recalled styles to Admire Store for a full refund on that. All right, here's another one. Boy, this one got my attention. A hungry pig wanders into a North Carolina home searching for snacks. North Carolina police say they responded to a very unusual report on Monday after a pig wandered into a stranger's home. There's the poor guy. The pig, identified as Penelope by her owner, seemed to be just looking for a snack. That's all she wanted. Police a, quote, short standoff, including a pack of crackers. Penelope was taken into custody before arriving at Rutherford County Animal Control Services. The suspicious pig has now been returned home to her owner, but the story she can now tell, and she's got the mugshot to prove it. Penelope is going strong. I love it. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us here on this Friday TGIF. We've got you covered at noon, too, so we'll see you then. Take care.